Warning: the following video contains strong language which may be offensive to some viewers and/or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Tune in to Kaleidoscope Eyes with your host, Transman Lacrosse Ortiz. Every week, we will be touching topics within the LGBTQIA plus community. We will also be having interviews with individuals within the community and allies. Journey with us as we share in their struggles and triumphs every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Through Kaleidoscope Eyes. This is pre-recorded, so if you do have any questions, I'll make sure the link is out there, and we will try to make sure we answer any questions. We have a lot of interesting topics we're going to touch today. Today, my guest is Beverly Schriver. I love her bio. She said it's short and sweet, but it is. Microbio, you're right. Mom, wife, musician, drag king, state worker, union member. Big support to the LGBT. I've had the pleasure of working with this individual. We've done some shows together, and this is just, when you think of mom, yeah, I definitely think of this person. So let's welcome Beverly. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I am doing great. How are you, darling?
I'm hanging in there.
Good.
A tough little cookie. I'm trying to hang in there. So,
yes, you are.
So, I guess we start with you're a mom and a wife, and a lot of people, and I have to say that touches my heart, because when I first started out, of course, I was a mother. I am a mother. I never stopped being a mother just because I'm trans. I'm still their mama. But I was married and I did drag, and I got a lot of slack in the beginning at first, because they were just like, well, you don't identify as, I'm an entertainer. And I think that was what they finally got through it, and then realized they knew I was trans before I did, or really accepted it. So I guess I ended up being under the umbrella anyway. So tell me about being a mom and a wife.
I am married to a wonderful man. Rich is very supportive, very loving, and doesn't believe that I'm saying all these things about him. But he is one of the most supportive people I have ever known, and he comes the closest to actually getting all the things that I am. And he just kind of sits back and watches the show.
Yeah.
So he I'm the first to admit he is not my first husband, but as far as we're both concerned, the third time is a charm.
I'm there. Cat's my third.
There you go. And
I agree.
As far as being a mom, I have given birth once, but there've got to be at least a dozen young people out there that call me mom or mama. Yeah. And I am so pleased, proud, honored, humbled, and thrilled to have that title, because there are so many things that it means.
Oh, absolutely.
And the assumption is that I fit whatever it means to that person. And that just completes me. Oh,
I would say that's one of my biggest accomplishments in my life. Is I have a total of 6. So I have my stepdaughter, which is my daughter. I have one that strange boy, he moved into my house. He was 8 years old with a little trash bag and just went upstairs to hang out with my kids, and he never left. And I just ended up adopting him. And they all, well, except for my youngest calls me Pops. But all the rest of them, they call me mom. And a lot of people thinking with being transgender, like, how can that be? How can your kid call you mom? And I'm like, don't put gender roles on parenting. This is what I'm good at. I am a nurturer. I am, these are all my qualities, and that suits the mom. They don't need a dad. They have a dad. They don't need me to be their dad, So yeah, that was, and you're right. You end up playing all these different roles to all these people, and you end up becoming a mother of many.
Yeah, it's I mean, you're everything from a cab driver to a psychotherapist, and everything in between. And I mean everything. I have bandaged wounds. I have done, well, obviously doing laundry and the typical household running stuff, but I have helped with drag. I have taught people to drive. I've done the psychotherapy aspect of it, and just being a mentor and showing them how to make their little corner of the world that much better.
Right.
Because that's really what we're here for.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I
And
agree 100%.
If you do it by touching somebody's heart in some way and making their day a little better, then who knows, that could have a trickle or effect or a ripple effect and turn into something really big.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really matter whether you open a door for a little old lady, or if you hugged a friend that was crying, or if you talked to somebody that maybe was thinking that this should be their last day on earth. You've got to do these things, because if we don't take care of each other, who else is there?
Right. 100%. And in this day and age, it's so hard because we're in COVID. People are so distant, and we have to be that way, sadly, for our own health. But then it starts hurting mental health. It starts hurting so many other things. And that hug that you were able to give before, you know, people start craving it, you know, because, you know, people are so untouchable now. And it's like, how do you handle that?
It's been hard. I mean, I work for the state of New York. I am a supervisor in the call center that I work in. So I have to set an example for others in my professional behavior. So I can't slip and slide and say, oh, well, you know, I'll just give somebody a hug when nobody's looking. So I have to not hug these people that I've known for almost 14 years in this job. I can't hug the people I run into on the street that I know unless I ask them first, and I'm not used to doing that. Being unable to hug it's just been a huge hole that I try and find other things to fill it with. You know, an elbow bump, a fist bump, that helps. You know, I've learned to give verbal hugs.
Yeah.
You know, I tell my friends that I love them.
Right.
And they're really floored, but they almost always respond, well, I love you too. So I think that's actually turned the negative aspect of being unable to touch as much into something positive, because it deepens the relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. No, true. 100%. I know. It was so funny because when it all started, I have never been a touchy-feely person. I just never have. But when it wasn't there at all, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Now this is a little different, because like, I guess I was able to touch according to my comfort zone. And, but then when it was like, next, nope, no hugging, no nothing, you know, once again, the fist bump. And yeah, it really affected psych, you know, myself. And now even because I just recently, my wife and I got over COVID, it made it even hard because we had to quarantine in our house, and everything was quarantined, and the kids are quarantined, and we were family night every week. We would play games and, you know, do all these things, and you don't realize how much you miss it when you can't, even though you're in the same house. But I can't really see my kids. I couldn't spend time with them, you know, because we all had to quarantine.
We had to quarantine too. Rich and I both had COVID in February, and very surprised, because neither one of us thought we were in any sort of large exposure group, but we both ended up sick. I'm not sure if my son Spencer had it, but he also had his second COVID shot right around that time through his job, and had a bad reaction to the shot. So he might have been sick. He might have just had a reaction. I don't know. But he quarantined. We quarantined. Didn't see anybody. My stepdaughter that lives with us left for 2 weeks and took the cat with her. And it was so hard. I couldn't even hug my husband because I was afraid of giving him some sort of secondary infection.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want him to catch my red hair or something, but I didn't. It was awful.
Yeah.
And you don't realize the mission of something so natural as a hug until it's gone.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, I'm so glad that we're all out of that zone now. But sadly, we still have to wait the 90 days before we can get our vaccination, which stinks. But, hopefully the antibodies will help out in those 90 days and we'll be okay.
I'm hoping for you that because you've had the COVID, when you have your shots, you don't have a bad reaction.
Yeah, that's what I heard, that they get pretty sick, and
I didn't.
No,
I didn't.
Oh,
nope.
Good.
I had a sore
spot.
Wait
the time frame. Maybe if you just wait that time frame that you're supposed to wait and do things right, and
well, when I did it, they didn't know about the time frame. I was sick in February. I got my COVID shots in March. I did Pfizer. I had both shots in March, and I had no reaction to the second one other than the bump on my arm. My husband had a stuffy nose. My son got super sick. The young lady that stays with us that calls me mom, that I call my daughter, got super sick from her second shot. And my older son, Colin, was sick as a dog for 3 days? Yeah, 3 days from his second shot.
Yeah.
So
I'm not looking forward to it.
No, it's not something to look forward to, but you can look forward to having it over with.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
Oh, sorry if you can hear the yapper in the background.
That's all right.
There's two of them.
Oh, I got one downstairs, but he's deaf and blind. So he doesn't hear anything or see anything. I don't even think he doesn't even bark anymore. He's just
No, neither of these are deaf and blind, but sometimes we wish they were.
Or at least mute.
Or
they can hear and see.
Barkless.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I wish sometimes I wish I could turn the volume down on the barking.
Yeah. So
big thumbs up for my husband on that. So
we're going to touch on a subject of parenting and transgender. So maybe we'll first talk about your story. And then after that, maybe we can touch on what's a good way for parents to handle having transgender children. So I'll let you take it from there.
Okay. My story?
Yeah.
Grew up in a loving family. Both parents worked. Pretty straightforward. It was a little bit unconventional in that time. And remember that I'm 55. It was a little unconventional in my teenage years because my mother was the larger breadwinner. And my father took care of the household and worked at night. So I had a little bit of a role reversal there. But I think it helped me realize that it was okay to be a strong woman. Because my mother was an incredibly strong woman, and I miss her every single day. So I grew up knowing that was okay. And yet I still knew it was okay and a good thing to take care of the people around me, whether they were actually my blood family or not. So we always had extra people at the dinner table. We always had all of my friends calling my parents mom and dad. And I'm very happy to have had that kind of upraising. Looking back, I know I was a lot more fortunate than many of my peers whose parents did not stay together. So that also helped me get a good grounding in a positive relationship because my parents worked out everything. Their communication was really surprisingly good, considering that they themselves grew up with parents that were raised, you stay married no matter what, and you just don't talk about your emotions. So they transitioned us into the modern age, and I am so thankful for that. Right. So that's my background. The right side of my brain is full of theater and music, because that was my love and my joy in high school and college. And that's part of what made me a performer. I was also a public speaker. And after college, I was a race car driver.
Oh, wow.
I didn't tell you that.
No,
I drove auto.
Very cool.
No, I drove autocross for the Sports Car Club of America in the Southern New York region.
Oh,
I did that for about 3 years and loved every minute of it. And brought home a couple of trophies and pissed off the guys, but they'll get over it.
Oh, yeah.
Most of them did. And let's see, now I work for the state of New York in a call center. I am a supervisor that was promoted during and because of COVID. So I can't look at COVID as something completely negative because it led me to where I am.
Right.
And I love being a supervisor much more than I liked being a peon, because I was right in the front lines. Call centers, I don't know how many people you've talked to that work in call centers. Call centers suck. They're terrible. You get the 0.1% of people on the phone that either think the rules don't apply to them, or they think if they bug you enough, you'll give them what they want. Excuse me. I'm very happy in my job at this point, and very secure, happy in my marriage. I mean, I am so blessed, LaCrosse. I can't get over it. I have wonderful sons that take good care of me when Dad's not around. Right. I have a young lady that I've come to think of as my daughter, and I'm just a happy woman.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. I'm so happy for you.
I'm very blessed, and thank you. And I wouldn't say I'm a success as far as money goes, but the things that matter more than money, I am extremely blessed and very, very proud and humbled by having it all.
Success is it's like art, you know. It's subjective, you know. Money has nothing. Like, I know people who have money and they're miserable. They're just not happy people. And then people, look, I'm broke and I'm going through a hard time, but I have amazing kids. I have a beautiful wife. I'm breathing. And sometimes I got to go back and remind myself, you got it good. You know, you got it really good. How she tolerates me, I don't know, but you got it good.
Because she's an amazing woman. That's why.
Yes, she is.
But then you know this, that's why you married her.
Yep. 100%. 100%. And I wouldn't change it. I would not change any of it. So now maybe I would only change, maybe I'd work a little harder. That'd be it. Maybe if I could do a little bit more. You know, you always want to be able to give more to your partner and more to to who you love. So that'd about be the only thing I would want to do more, but that just means I'll do more tomorrow and do more today.
There you go. Yeah, I don't know that I'd work harder, but I think I would, if I had to do it all over again, I'd work smarter. I don't know that it would want the outcomes changed, because if I changed one little outcome, then it might mean a whole different picture. I may not have have children. I may not have a husband. I may not have my home.
Right.
You know, I bought my parents' home. It's the only home that Spencer's ever known.
Right.
And again, it's a blessing.
Right.
The latest chapter in my life is music and performance art. I am a drag king. My moniker is Matt Ernal. If you say it right together, it's maternal. And Spencer came up with that one. Perfect. Spencer came up with that one for me. Spencer, of course, is also a drag king. He is psychotic. Colin is a drag king. He is Camden Summers Monet. They got me into it. And in drag, as you know, when you get someone into it, they become your child. Yeah. So we mix the two worlds. And as a result, that means that Spencer is his own grandfather, and Colin or Camden is his own great-grandfather, and it gets really confusing after that.
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's part of the craziness. Drag is just so, I can't even call it fluid. Drag is just so dynamic. Yeah. That's part of the reason I love it so much.
Yeah.
It's just seems like a natural extension of the live music that I've been doing since I was 15. Been doing that for 40 years.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it is this amplification of who you are. Mm-hmm. Like I realized I couldn't do drag and be a guy because I'm already a guy, but because that would be a little bit contradictory to me. I know a lot of men who do it, and that's okay. But to me, it was a little contradictory. So I had to come up with these crazy characters. But
and you do so well at it.
And the beauty is each character was a point in time in my life. and it was something I was going through and something that I was feeling at that time. So it was an amplification. Like, just because it was the Joker doesn't mean it was actually the Joker. It was a crazy time in my life. It was me trying to figure things out. You know, Edward was a whole nother different time in my life. So it's like, I think what drag is, because that's what makes it art. Every performance you put yourself into so deeply, and that's what people see.
Right.
You know, and they don't realize they're actually seeing inside of you. If that makes, you're wearing a mask, but they're seeing inside of you, if that makes any sense.
Oh, it makes perfect sense. That's something I learned long ago when I played the local coffee houses in upstate New York as a young teenager. As I said, I started performing at age 15. I actually did my first recording at age 4 with my grandmother, but that's a totally different story. It was really cool, and I have it. But I started being a professional musician, getting paid for it at age 15. So I was singing, I was playing piano, playing guitar. My dad found this old guitar many years ago and gave it to me as a teenager. So more blessings, because it's a beautiful collectible guitar. It's a 1935 Gibson L50 for those that may be interested in knowing what it was.
Nice.
Les Paul played one, a little different finish on it. Yeah. So it's a great guitar. It's smooth as silk, plays just beautifully. And I could go on for hours about just how it feels to play this guitar. Yeah. But suffice it to say that life, again, imitates art, and you have to be so honest. Your innermost feelings, your psyche, your personality has to come out, or your audience knows it's not genuine.
Right.
My bandmates and my chorus mates, my theater mates, and all of my drag family are the people that I am closest to for the most part, because they've seen that inside, and they accept it, and they support it, and they applaud it.
Right.
And again, that's what makes my husband so wonderful, because he does too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I promised my wife, I said I didn't want her to be my drag rat, because I know what an a-hole I could be in the backstage, because I'm like, oh, I need this, oh, I need that. I get too anxious. And I told her, nope, I don't want you back here. I want you to like me, okay? I want you to love me. I don't want you back here. I mean, she'll come back and help me a little bit, and then she'll go on her way. And I'm like, okay. But I said, no, I have to do this on my own, because, you know, I had done it for so many years, and I'm like, yeah, I know me. And that's, I think, what it was, is I know me. I'm hot-tempered, short Latino. I already have little man syndrome, okay? I don't want to be hot-tempered, you know, over, you know, with her, at least, you know. Anybody else, I'm like, they know me. They know it'll blow over. So,
sure.
but
it's okay.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing. That's why they're your family, because that's how family is.
Because they love you despite yourself.
Right. I mean, I can't tell you how many times with my drag family I've had blow-ups and this and that. And the next day we're like, okay, so what's up? How you doing? Yeah, I'm sorry. I was wrong. My bad.
Absolutely. You know? I've seen scenes in the dressing room that you would think would end in fisticuffs. And then as soon as the crisis passes, everybody's having some fireball together.
Yeah.
And saying, what the hell?
Yeah. And it passes, because that's what it's like, because it's no different in my biological family. It's the same way. We'll have a blow up, over, move forward. No point in holding on to it. And but that's
mine
the cool
too,
thing
including
about
fireball.
Yes. Well, I have given up drinking, so I don't drink anymore.
Good for you.
Yes. No, I don't. It's just something that I don't know. Not good for me.
It doesn't fit in everybody's life.
No.
I am extremely fortunate to have learned the lessons from my father, who was a functional alcoholic.
Right.
Another one, I miss him every day of my life. I can't forget the bad things, but I can remember the good things harder.
Yeah.
But I learned from that, and I'm very careful to teach, to have taught my children what they need to know about the dangers of drinking. the pluses that are there. I mean, the camaraderie, the relaxation, and the taste. If you like the taste, if that's why you drink, that's fine. Whatever.
Right.
Just like anything else, in moderation.
In moderation. Absolutely.
In moderation. I wouldn't sit down and eat an entire wedding cake that just because it was red velvet with cream cheese frosting.
Oh,
but
nice.
I can. Oh yeah. Oh baby. But I can enjoy the hell out of one piece.
Right. Right.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's just everybody's journey. Like, my father, may he rest in peace, was the same way. My father was a very bad alcoholic. Woke up with it, went to sleep with it. And it was crazy because just one day he just said, okay, I'm done. And I'm like, and that was it. He didn't drink again. Yeah. And I was like, okay, no withdrawal, no nothing. He just said, okay. And he went to work. And then he came home and that was it. And I used to laugh. I said, I'm just like my dad. You know, I'm just like, one day I could be like, oh yeah, let's party. And the next, no, I'm done. I don't want it. So. My dad did eventually decide the same thing, that his family was more important than the booze. Yeah.
And we were very thankful for that. But then we found out that he had used the alcohol to self-medicate for depression. And he wasn't being treated properly for it. And my mother, all over it, like white on rice, she's just so amazing, got him right off to the doctor and to a psychiatrist, got him the proper medications to get him rebalanced. And the last, I don't know, the last 10 or 15 years of his life were probably some of the best for me. So I know they had to be some of the best for him, because he was the man I remembered before he crawled into the bottle and stayed there for all those years.
It's sad because, like, I know, like, from my experience, it was the loss of my parents because it happened so quickly in a 3-year time span.
Yeah, I get that. It was 10 months for my folks.
Yeah. And one was 2 weeks before my birthday. One was 2 weeks after.
Oh,
so my birthday is right smack dab in the middle of losing them both. And it was, and I was never a drinker before. Was not a drinker. And then when my dad died, boom, that was it. I went crazy. Then I stopped. Then I went crazy. Then I stopped. And like, I wasn't an everyday drinker, but when I binged, I realized I'm just not a good binger. I still have a lot of hurt and I still have a lot of pain. And until I can come to terms with that, this is not conducive for me. So it's just trying to learn that self-awareness and heal through the loss of my parents, because you don't ever get over it. You don't ever get over losing your parents. That is just, I still dream of my parents, you know, and I miss them dearly, but you know.
Yes, I get it. I totally get it. See a little streak right there? My mother had one. So I wear that for my mother. And the strawberry blonde next to it is for her sister, who is like my second mom. And just the overall Hungarian look here is from my dad, so I didn't have to do anything for that. And I sure wasn't going to shave back my hair to get the same hair. But no. I have my parents live in me. And as long as I remember them, some part of them will always be here. Yeah. But a day does not go by that I don't miss them terribly.
Absolutely.
And it's
absolutely
been two and a half years for mom and 3.5 years for dad.
Yeah.
They crossed over 10 months apart.
Oh.
You know, dad went because of mishandled pneumonia. My mother crossed over because of multiple diabetic strokes and the onset of Alzheimer's, which was a terrible thing to watch. But I remembered my mom the way she was, and I remembered who she was, and I kept seeing little glimpses of her there. So as hard as it was, and that was probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, was to continue to spend the time with my mother and make sure that she had positive moments, even though I knew she might not remember that I graduated high school in 1985, but she knew that I was somebody that she loved.
Right.
And every day was a beautiful thing because of that. And I'll take a minute to give a shout out to my sister, Linda, who is my rock. She helped me through so much of that. Rich, of course, was there, but to Rich, they were in-laws.
Yeah.
And he loved them dearly. They were very close, but it was once removed, not being the natural child like my sister and I were.
Yeah.
And she's my rock. She is one of my best friends, and I couldn't have gotten through that time without her.
Right. Yeah. And it's important. It's important to have that support from your other siblings, because you already know, what they're going through.
Right.
They know what you're going through. You know what they're going through. You can understand the loss a little better. Me and my brother, we were close, but when we lost our mother, it's like we had to go our own way and figure out our journey. And then now we're back together, and now we're even stronger than before. So it's like, sometimes, each healing is different,
It is.
So
my brother had a journey of healing that took him away from us before my parents, because of a schism that happened in the family. But his journey for healing came back, and I think completed with the healing from the passing of our parents. And even though I don't talk to him every day or like I do my sister, I still feel like we are as close as we ever were, and as close as we could be.
Yeah.
We are really close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, I think that's this is something that it takes years, like years of healing. When people, you don't know how many times people, well, your dad died 5 years ago. It feels like yesterday. I don't care what time stamp
been through.
You don't determine my healing.
Right.
Yeah, he may have passed away 5 years ago, but guess what? Every day I look in the mirror and there he is, because I'm the spitting image of that man. Like, he spit me out. So, and the same thing with my brother.
Yeah.
And my brother is the spitting image of my mother. So it's hilarious, and it's like, and he took it like it was really hard, and it's still hard. It is. You got to make space for it. So
you do, and it's an unexpected hole carved out of the middle of your heart. You never really get over it. It's just the edges kind of get a little blurred once in a while, but the hole is still there. Yeah. And who helped me through it more than I understood they possibly could was my kids. Yeah. Both of my boys. Haley was not in the picture at the time, but Colin and Spencer, I could not have gotten through that without them either, because they reminded me of all the things that my parents taught me that I share with them. Yeah. And I'm getting misty-eyed here. They helped keep me grounded. They gave me positive things to focus on. Their need of the things that I helped them with and that I could do with and for them, that need was a balm to my soul. Yeah. And that just got me through a lot. I was not in a live band at the time, because the band that I'd been in broke up a year before my parents started their decline. That was a very close band, like a family, like a good band is supposed to be, but I didn't have that. And that was another omission in my life. And I found that I had it. I had always had it with my boys. I just didn't realize it until I needed to draw on that strength. So the strength that I gave them, that I tried to give them, that I think I succeed. They think I succeed. I assume they do. But all that strength, they just becomes a bond, a deeper bond, and it becomes this beautiful, shining, healing light. So that, yeah, I miss my parents, no question. Right. Do I cry when I think about them? Yeah, sometimes, but not as often as I did 6 months ago, right. And probably more often than I will in another year.
Yeah, no, yeah. I hear you. I hear you. Kids are the biggest blessing. I mean, my daughter, my oldest, she cracks me up because she'll be the first one to tell me, like, Ma, I realized you weren't Superman when I was 9. And I realized you were a real human being. And she goes, and it devastated me because I thought you were Superman. Now, Mom's Superman, once again, do the math. But now, like, she's 34 and she's just like, you're my biggest hero. And when I hear her say that, and I'm thinking, wow, what did I do to merit this? You know, but when you think about it, yeah, the work and the devotion that you give to your children is just, you don't realize it until you're the one in need. And then they give it back to you. And you're like, wow, okay, I did do a good job. I did an amazing job. I may not be the best human being in the world, but I'm a damn good mom. Yeah.
Yes. Let's hear
I'm a damn good mom. That's right.
Yay. Yay, moms. And, you know, it doesn't matter what label your parenting is either.
Right.
Whether you've got that label from, you know, from ages past where, you know, you had the mom, you had the dad, you have the parents, and the label doesn't matter. You are a person, a nurturer, you know, a teacher.
Exactly.
I use the term rabbi, if you forgive the term.
It's okay. I'm Jewish. It's fine.
Okay, then you know, rabbi is not a religious man per se. Rabbi means teacher.
Teacher. Yep.
So you are teaching others whatever you are teaching them. In this case, it's that particular organized spirituality, which we call religion.
Right.
But you are teaching them other things as well. You know, my family would always go to the rabbi if they needed advice.
Yeah.
And sometimes it was family advice.
Yeah.
But the rabbi was someone that could teach you the things you needed to know. A parent does the same thing.
Right.
They teach you, they help you find the answers. If they don't know, then you learn them together.
Right.
And that's been the biggest thing about parenting is learning all this stuff and finding out, yeah, I can do this. He didn't come with an owner's manual. None of them did.
No.
But I'm managing.
Yeah.
I'm managing. Now Spencer's 21, Haley's 18. They don't need a whole lot more upbringing.
Right.
But I will always be their mom. And Colin is not right here with them as far as age group. And he's 34. I've got a stepson that's 43. I've got another stepson that's 45.
Right.
So they're closer to me in age. They could almost be siblings, but they think of me as mom. They call me mom.
Right.
And they come to me when they need me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's amazing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's
so
an honor when you think of it. What an honor it is that these human beings look up at you that way. You know.
Yeah.
No, definitely. So now tell me a little bit about your drag in the sense, I remember you sing.
I do.
You sing. And I remember I got to see you and it was mind-blowing. It was really, really mind-blowing. So how did you decide to intertwine?
I don't know that there was really a decision. It just seemed part of the natural evolution of being Matt Ernal.
Right.
Because Matt's backstory is he's a Southern gentleman or a gentleman with Southern roots, because I say that because he's got a lot of the old values, not necessarily because he talks like somebody from Virginia.
Right.
But he's got a lot of the old values that people used to think of as Southern values. So I put that in there so people stop and think, okay, so he's not going to be the usual punk wearing basketball shorts and a tank top.
Yeah.
And that's fine. You know, that's fine for somebody else.
Exactly. But it's just
not mine.
Right.
So Matt became this gentleman, and I have always sung no matter what I do. I sing at work. I sing in the shower. Doesn't everybody? I sing in the car. Doesn't everybody? I sing at the grocery store. I just sang to you a minute ago, the spitting image of my father. I sang that. And it just seemed very natural to string a guitar around Matt and do some music.
Yeah.
That was my first pageant, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
And it definitely got a great reception.
I was
definitely got a great reception. You should be proud. That was an amazing performance. That was huge.
Thank you.
It's in the drag world. It's difficult to find like kindred spirits, people like I may not sing, but it's I have my own different twist. You know, everybody has their own thing that they bring to the table, and it's difficult to find a lot of kindred people when you're doing it, because like in my case, it's because I think there's such an age gap. So I'm like, I'm not gonna start, you know, dancing around like this. I'm like, no, my lumbago hurts. I'm like,
Oh,
yeah. I'm like, oh,
my,
there goes my leg.
my sciatic. Oh
Yeah.
no! I gotta go see the chiropractor.
Yeah.
My neck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always get a lot of scrap from them because they're like, well, look at you. You look young. What I look like and what my body actually is are two distinct things. Okay. I may
Amen.
look like I'm in my 40s, but my body is telling me, no, remember, you're in your 50s. So put it where it is. So,
Yeah, the soul is willing, but the flesh is weak.
yes,
I'm not sure where that came from, but it fits so well.
I think it's the Bible.
And you know, that's another reason that I love your part of Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah.
The Lebanon and Lancaster area. And see, I pronounced it right. It's Lancaster.
Yeah. I won't. I refuse. I'm like
but
Lancaster.
The drag community down there is so inclusive and so loving and so receptive that when Colin brought me down there, I felt at home right away.
Yeah.
Doubly so because so many of the performers are not in their 20s.
No.
Let's not throw any numbers out there. Let's just say they're not in their 20s anymore, although some of them are.
Yeah.
So you've got a nice variety of ages from young enough to be my children to the right age to be my siblings.
Right.
And I love that. There are damn few older performers in our part of upstate New York. There are a couple, and they're wonderful, and they love everybody. But they're just, drag is a much younger craft in upstate in my part of upstate New York. Right. That's one of the reasons I'll make the 3-hour drive to and from in one day for a drag show in Lebanon or Lancaster, because it's totally worth it.
Oh yeah. It's definitely. I mean, it's definitely a variety show when you get in there, because nobody is like, everybody is so distinct, like having their own thing. It's and it's beautiful to watch, you know, because I think that's it gets bad when you go to shows and you just see the repetitiveness.
Yeah. And
that could get a little, you know, I already have ADHD. I can't sit still anyway for a whole show regardless. No. But I could pop in and I'll watch a little bit, and then but when I'm popping in, that song's still going on. Popping in. Oh, it's somebody different, but it looked like the same song. You know what? I keep popping in.
Yeah.
Like, now come on. You know, and I just I don't have the attention span for it. And
there's only so much drum machine you can put up with.
Right.
Yeah.
And I tease them. I'm straight up. I said, look, how many death drops? You should have a concussion by now. That's too many death drops in one song. Stop doing those death drops. That's dangerous. Looking at that scares me. Oh my God.
The mother in me cringes every time I see someone do a death drop. I don't care how young and athletic they are. Right. You do a death drop, you are going down. You are landing on concrete. Hello. Right. I know. And I mean, there's
trying to catch
cracked ribs and sprained wrists, and drag is not for the faint of heart.
No. I broke a pinky.
No, I
broke a pinky doing drag.
I haven't broken anything more than a nail, and that wasn't doing drag. That was being mom while I was dressing Colin at a pageant in May. I broke a nail, so I limped for a day just to make up for it.
Yeah, I broke a pinky, and then I fell straight off face first off a stage. Like a high stage.
Ow.
Yeah. But it was great though, because I was doing a nerd. So it worked. So nobody knew that it was, and I ended up falling into the dressing room, so they didn't see me land. So I was really, now when I went to do the next number, I wasn't in good shape. Oh, look at the baby.
This is Viola. This is
Hi,
Colin.
Viola.
She hears her name. This is
Aw.
Colin's dog. She's
Aw.
11. You can see the
Aw.
gray on her muzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah, she decided she needed some grandma loving.
Yeah, that's. If Jack could get upstairs, he would, and he'd just barge in. But I'm like, no, I got to keep a gate because his hips are too bad. I can't have him going up and down.
Well, Reba would be out here, but she's small enough and Via's big enough that I think Reba could get stuck in her throat. Not that there would be that danger with those two, because they get along. They know they're both girls together. They get along fine. You got to get down, baby.
I'm gonna let Grandma work.
You're going to knock my phone over. All right, down you go. Good girl.
Okay, we didn't even take a commercial break, so I'm going to take a real quick one, and then we'll be back and we'll finish up. We're almost 45 minutes in. Wow, that went quick.
Oh, you're so easy to talk to.
I try to. Well, this is fun. All right, well, let's go back and let me see if I can find it. Yeah, okay, got my commercials. All right, so we'll go back and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Life just got sweeter now that WLFE-DB has merchandise. Show your support by purchasing your t-shirts for WLFE, Paratalk Radio, Inside the Drag Closet, and more. But it doesn't stop there. T-shirts, coffee mugs, tanks, buttons, cloth bags, and more. Go to WLFE-DB.com. On the top bar, click on the merchandise tab and bam, there you go. You got merch. Support the shows. WLFE-DB.com. WLFE Digital Broadcast Network is on TV. You can watch all of our shows on WLFE-DB.com. Check out our channels. Paranormal View for all of your paranormal type shows. LGBTQ Friends for all of our LGBTQ shows. Variety Unlimited for all other shows. It runs 24/7 right on WLFE-DB.com. You'll even catch the lives, all in one place. Never miss an episode, past or future. WLFE-DB.com, where our shows are your shows. Search for your favorite shows like Where's My Sage, Inside the Drag Closet, Across the Pond, Everything Yet Nothing, Paratalk Radio, Step into the Paranormal, The Creepy Parlor, Just Cindy, and more. Now you won't miss an episode. Remember, follow Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Make sure you subscribe and follow your favorite WLFE-DB radio shows.
You can find our shows where you listen to your favorite podcasts, like Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and more. WLFE-DB Radio is looking for podcasts to join our family. You don't have to fit any strict genre. We're a plethora of shows. If you're looking to jump on a growing network, then contact us at WLFEDBradio@gmail.com.
Wow, Amazon Music just got a whole lot better. Your favorite shows from WLFE-DB Radio can now be found there. Yes, we are on Amazon Music, found under podcasts. Download the app, find podcasts, and search all of your favorite shows. Shows like Where's My Sage, Across the Pond, Everything Yet Nothing, Skeptical Help Bar, The Creepy Parlor, Just Cindy, and much more. Now you don't have to miss an episode ever. Amazon Music is WLFE-DB radified.
All right, we're back.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, my goodness. I said, well, let me get a cigarette. Those commercials are sometimes a bit long, so I'm like, I have a cigarette. This is the only vice that I don't know. It's not that I want to quit smoking. I don't want to quit smoking because I love smoking. But I know I should, but yeah.
That's one thing. I won't get on my soapbox. How's that? Let's just leave it there. I won't get up on my soapbox.
Yeah, please. No, yeah. I'm like, well, I am taking Chantix. I take Chantix to quit, so I don't smoke near as much. If it was left up to me, I'd be at like 2 packs a day.
Oh,
And
Well, it,
yeah, that
doing something about it.
bad. Yeah.
Every little bit is something.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I said, I'll just keep taking my pills until I'm ready to just say, okay, like done.
Okay. That
So.
that works for you then. I'm not here to judge.
So
So,
if there's any advice you could give to parents with having umbrella children, because that's what I like to call them, they're the rainbow children, what would be the best advice you could give them?
I kind of knew you were going to ask a question, something like that. And I've been trying to think of the best way to put it. There's no easy answer.
No.
The best thing I can say is not just love your children, but accept your children, because right or wrong, they know what's best for them.
Yes.
Maybe they think today they want to be a tow truck operator, and you're going to support it. You may not agree with it. It's a dangerous job. Think about it. You're on the side of the road in the middle of the night in bad weather. You're going to get hit by a car. It could happen. It happened to one of my stepkids.
Oh.
But somebody wants to be a tow truck operator. Okay, if that means that much to you, you have my support. Whether I agree or not, you have my support. And then later on you find out maybe that's not the best thing. Okay, today I want to be a firefighter. Okay. Again, dangerous, but sure, we'll go with that. And that's how we grow. I mean, it's part of the growing process. So you have to accept it, because every little bit, every jot and tittle is part of what makes your child who they are and who they're going to be.
Right.
So accept your children, because you never know if what they are asking you to accept is the most important thing in the world to them.
Right.
And you don't want to be responsible for breaking their heart or disillusioning them or making them lose their faith in you.
Yeah.
Because no good parent can afford that.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
So that's what I did when Spencer came to me and decided he was part of the umbrella. The first time he came to me, he didn't have the right label. He thought he was one way. He thought he was something else. And every time he came to me and said, "Mom, I don't think that's right. I'm not a lesbian. I think I'm transgender." And I said, "Okay, well, let's explore this. Let's see. Let's try on this garment, see if it fits you better. And if it does, that's it. And if it doesn't, then we keep trying." But the important thing is your child is going through a journey that is comparable, not necessarily similar, but comparable to what you went through as a growing person. If you do not lend them your full support, then they know they can't trust you.
Right.
So the advice I give to any parent, whether your child is in the umbrella or not, is accept your child. Love them unconditionally, even if you don't agree with them.
Right. 100%. I have a very funny story of my son. He, all my children are in the umbrella. Okay, they're all under the umbrella except for one. And growing up and this is reversed. Growing up in a rainbow family, I would always say, "Are you asexual? Are you this? Are you that?" And I'm throwing all these things at him, and he didn't have the heart to tell me that he was straight. And I was like, how backwards is that? To the point he had to call his sister and say, "Look, could you talk to Mom and just tell her I like girls?" And I was like, oh.
Like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I've got something to talk to you about. I'm straight. I'm sorry."
Yeah. I'm like, it's so reversed, because usually kids are terrified to tell their parents to come out the closet. My kid had to come out the closet is straight, and I think about that, but I'm like, what an interesting thing that you could be so, like in my case, I was such a parent who was so trying to be understanding and trying so hard that the obvious was I wasn't seeing, but the beautiful thing is that giving your children the freedom to explore whatever it is that they're feeling at that moment, and that's another thing. People are like, "Oh, it's phases." It doesn't matter if it's phases or not.
No,
it's
it
what they feel, and their feeling is valid at that moment. So what if it is a phase? So what? So you move to the next one. And what if it isn't? Then you support it. But either way, you have to be that parent that's like, if this is what you're feeling, it's 100% valid, and I'm here for you. 100%, and I think that was, and sadly, too many people don't realize it's not a phase that people are going through. It's a journey, and that journey has to get them. You have to get levels. I started out as being bisexual, and the whole process ended up that here I am. And my journey's still not done, and I'm in my 50s. I'm still on my journey. So if my journey's not done, they're really far from being done.
Right. So you gotta be supportive for them, because they may need things from you that you don't realize they need or haven't yet realized. In the case of having a transgender child,
right,
you need to make sure you got them covered for insurance.
Yeah.
And who would have thought of that?
Yeah.
But I'm fortunate. We've got great insurance through my job. So Spencer had the coverage he needed for his transition, his gender reassignment, and he is where he needs to be. But that's one of those things you don't realize is part of the journey. Yeah. It's not just saying, oh, okay, so we're going to fly a flag in our front yard. Okay, that's good enough. It's not enough. It's, if that's part of it, that's part of it. But you've got to be there. Don't be afraid to hug your kid if they like hugs, because that validates them. And isn't that really all any of us are looking for, is validation?
Right. 100%. And, I can't thank you enough for coming on this show, because you're just giving such a beautiful perspective that I think a lot of parents need to hear. And, and also because there's a lot of kids out there who don't have parents that are supportive. And this could be something, it could hit one kid that says, oh my God, look, I'm okay. Everything's okay. This is all right. And give them that,
Mm-hmm.
And that's a beautiful thing. It's like, I always say, it's a beautiful legacy when these kids come out and they're like, oh my God, I saw, like, I've had kids come up to me and they're like, first time I saw you, oh, this was wonderful. You helped me do this, or you helped me do that. You don't even realize you're doing it. You're just being yourself.
Exactly.
And that's such a blessing. So I can't thank you enough for coming on the show and giving that perspective.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I've been thinking about what this interview might be like, and I thought, you know what? This is lacrosse. He's not going to ask me anything I can't handle. Right. And maybe I can get the word out there to the kids to know that they're okay, to the parents to know that their kid is okay, and that they as parents are not alone.
Right.
Now, I'm going to be starting a parent group up here in upstate New York at the local LGBTQIA center.
Nice.
It's going to be a once a month support group for parents, because I'm so far on this journey with Spencer. He came out years ago. Yeah. And we've got several years of experience and life to share. It would be a waste to not share it. It would be a sin against the gift. Yeah. And I don't want to.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for having me. This has been wonderful.
No, thank you. I've had a blast. It's kind of what I needed. Like I said, I was a little, because like I said, getting over everything that's been going on, I'm just like, maybe just talking just about anything is good. It's medicine.
It is. So, and you're stronger than you think too, so you're going to be fine.
Yeah, I'm a tough cookie. I'm one of them old men. You can't keep me down. I'm too stubborn.
There we go.
So, well, thank you. And I want to thank everybody who did tune in. Once again, this was pre-recorded, so if there's any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments, like and subscribe, and I will do my best to try and answer them, or I will send them this way. I'll send them over to there, so that way she can answer them for you. All right. And if you're in upstate New York and you want more information about this support group, please reach out. It's important that you're not alone, and you are loved, and you are unique. So
and you are okay.
Yep, you're okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So thank you, everybody, and you have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.
WLFE-DB Digital Network are engaging in the safe space. What is safe space? A safe space is a supporting and affirming environment for individuals within the LGBTQ+ community. Each podcast displaying the Safe Space logo will have resources available on hand for those in need without judgment. Here at WLFE-DB Digital Network, we care. We listen, we support, we understand.
Thanks so much for tuning into this week's episode on Through Kaleidoscope Eyes. I sure do hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. If you haven't done so, make sure to subscribe to the show. See you next week.